Here at CSL, we have 7 core values. We like to focus on one of those values each week. Those values are love, healing, oneness, abundance, spiritual growth, service, and diversity. Today, we're focusing on the core value of oneness. You know, in the principle of oneness, it can seem a little easy to understand at first. It's simply the idea that there is only one life. If there's only one life, then it must be the life living every one of us. And so even though it seems like we have separate bodies, the life force, the loving that lives us is all the same. So we are all one. And that means that, of course, anything I do to another, I actually do to myself. When we try to bring that down into how it actually impacts our daily lives, it gets to be a little more subtle. So for your consideration, if I have the intention or the lack of intention, but do it anyway, to send some negativity, some hate, some judgment, some unkind energy towards somebody else, I must first lay hold of that energy within myself, yes? I must first bring it into my body, into my consciousness, into the cells of my being, and own it before I can then attempt to give it away. And whether or not that other person, that seemingly other person, chooses to accept that gift, it is already mine. I've already claimed it. By the same token, if I intend to send a blessing or love or gratitude or peace or joy to another person, I must first bring those energies into my feeling tone, into my consciousness, claim them for myself before I can attempt to give that gift away. And whether or not the intended recipient accepts the blessing, it already has impacted me. In this way, this idea that we are all one life impacts our every single thought, feeling, word, and action in every day of our life. And so, in this week, as we practice oneness together, maybe stop anytime you have a conversation or are considering giving anything to anybody, and ask yourself the question, is this energy something I want flowing through my consciousness? Is this something I want impacting how I feel in my body and in my life? If the answer is no, then reconsider. But if the answer is yes, then open your heart wide and allow the loving to flow through you, because whether or not that supposed other accepts the gift, your acceptance, your yes to the loving that is within you is enough, and it impacts the whole, because there is only one of us here. And so, friends, this week, in the exploration of oneness as a spiritual practice, I look forward to exploring the possibilities together. Namaste.
CSL is part of a global organization with over 500 centers worldwide, and we're growing and we're thriving in the world. We're a spiritual community that honors all religions and all faiths because we know there's no wrong way to worship, whether you're lighting a candle, repeating a mantra, or offering a prayer. We respect and honor all things that draw us closer to Spirit. So we celebrate the diversity in religious practices with our ceremony this morning we called the Flames of Faith. The candles lit for the Tao to honor the universal path of harmony, the natural way. The candles lit for the shamanic traditions, honoring the belief and practices of all indigenous peoples worldwide. The candles lit for Hinduism to honor the spiritual path of devotion and the variety of religious icons and deities. The candles lit for Judaism to honor the path of sacred law. The candles lit for Buddhism to honor the Four Noble Truths and the way of compassion. The candles lit for Christianity to honor the Christ consciousness that lives in all of us. The candles lit for Islam to honor the path of peaceful submission to the will of God. The candles lit for the universalistic religion of Baha'i to honor the path of unity. And the candles lit for our own faith, which we call New Thought, to honor the metaphysical path and the practice of universal spiritual principles. And finally, perhaps the most important candle was lit for peace and for the peaceful acceptance of all faiths and all religions worldwide. I don't make resolutions. I stopped making resolutions when I came into this teaching because I learned, as my teacher told me, that we do not do better until we know better. And so to resolve ourselves to do better before we know better is putting the cart before the horse. So instead of resolving to do something different, I invest in my own spirituality. And that's what I would like for you to do this year. And in order to support you in doing that, it just so happens that we have a new class called Spiritual Fitness that begins January 12th on Tuesday nights. This is the way to get your life in order to know better so that you can do better in 2021. All right, there it is. I did my promo. Everybody come. Foundations is a prerequisite for the course, but it's an 8-week course, and it's $200, and you can register at cslftl.org. So let me ask you something. Do you know anybody who's perfect, who's never had any emotional, physical, or financial problems? Do you know anyone who sailed through life without any challenges at all? Anybody know anybody like that? I mean, besides me. I mean, other than me. I don't know anybody like that either. I guess at some point we're all a hot mess, aren't we? At least that's true for everybody I've ever met. Everybody I know at some point in life has had to scrape the bottom of the barrel. Everybody I know has seen a time in life where they're hanging from the thread by the end of the rope. I know everybody, anyone that I know has had that dark night of the soul, that time in your life when you looked up at the sky and you said, God, help me, God, heal me, God, save me. It's certainly come to my life. You know, I didn't come into life in functional families like so many other people. I came into life in a dysfunctional family, and so there was filled with addiction and alcoholism and all this other sort of stuff. So when I was a teenager, I took after the people that were around me, and I started fulfilling that addictive process. I started smoking pot every day before school in about 7th or 8th grade. In the 70s, I smoked pot. In the 80s, in the 80s, I did Quaaludes and cocaine. I was trying to get numb. You know, I didn't want to feel the hurt feelings that were filling the heart of a very lonely boy who was desperately trying to hang on. I was like so many people in life among the walking wounded, people who get slayed somehow by living and for whatever reasons don't find a way to heal that, so they just find some way to live with the wound, but you don't do it well. And on those days when you can't bear the weight of that wound, you numb out on drugs or alcohol or sex or something. Those of us who've lived this way share the same rally cry: I haven't got time for the pain, not today. And so we go on living with that wound, trying to live well and trying to prosper and trying to find love. But the wound is so deep that it seeps out, and it seeps out from our inner core around to everyone and everything in our life. And so we fail. And we fail again and again in our attempts to live well. And in that failure, then the cycle repeats itself. To comfort our loss and to avoid the pain of healing it, we numb out, and again and again and again. And some people live their whole lives repeating this cycle, unaware that there is a way off of this merry-go-round to hell. This is a lovely, uplifting talk, isn't it? So far, I'm feeling so much joy. Good news, though, fortunately, it's not all gloom and doom. Some of us, in fact, I think most of us do find our way to healing. We overcome our losses. We break that addiction cycle. We meet the challenges of the day and we triumph over them. And it's not because that we have the skill within ourselves. It's not because we're that bright. It's because something in us leads and guides us. Something in us rises up with the energy and the stamina and the talent that we need to meet those challenges. There's something in us that's stronger and wiser than we are, believe me. And that something is the spark of spirit. It's the power of the universe. It's the presence that awakens our soul and ignites our genius. Our genius. There's a story about a genius, about a great man born 250 years ago, whose art literally changed the world. Everyone in the world knows his name. And he had personal knowledge and experience of this dark night of the soul, the end of the rope desperation. And yet when he came to a point in his life when he reached that dark night of the soul, he came out of the darkness into the light by the same way we all do. Something in him rose up. And he ended up being the greatest artist of all time. Ludwig van Beethoven was born 250 years ago into a dysfunctional family like my own. His father was an alcoholic that he learned later to just despise and hate. In his early 20s, he started complaining about a ringing in his ears. He was having trouble hearing the music that he was composing. He couldn't distinguish between the instruments that were playing. He couldn't track what other people were saying in conversation. He's going deaf. Now I ask you, could there be a greater tragedy for a music composer? What cruel trick did the universe play on this genius? Why give the man a talent and a longing for an art that he can't even hear? These were the thoughts and the questions in his mind when he left Vienna, depressed and suicidal at the age of 32. He retreated to a small Austrian little village where he contemplated the meaning and the purpose of his life, questioning it all. Why does this music flow through my mind so fast I hardly have time to write it down? Am I composing the music, or am I merely taking dictation? Am I the genius, or does the genius occupy me? All of this inner questioning he wrote in a letter to his brothers, but never mailed. The letter was discovered later after his death, and in it he talks of this deep depression. He's so distraught that he's literally suicidal and contemplating killing himself. But then something happens. Something rises up within him, he says, that calls forth a determination to go on, and go on he does. Because most all of Beethoven's work were written long after he started to go deaf. His passion drove him. The power within him would not stop. The genius would not let him rest. It kept delivering to his mind symphony after symphony after symphony. And everything came to a head on the evening of May 2nd, 1824. One of Beethoven's greatest works was being premiered that night, the Ninth Symphony. It would be his first stage appearance in 12 years. All of Vienna was there. The house was packed with all the members of elite society. And when the curtain goes up, Beethoven can't hear a thing. So the house conductor instructs the musicians on stage to ignore Beethoven's conducting and to follow and watch him. But there he is, center stage, the great master, waving his hands up and down, side by side with passionate conviction, turning the pages of his score, beating time to an orchestra he cannot hear. And when it's all over, the audience erupts with sheer joy into standing ovation, but Beethoven's still on stage conducting. He doesn't know the symphony's over and he can't hear the audience. Finally, someone walks on stage and gently turns him around to face the audience. And he stands there and weeps. Now, few of us will have this kind of dramatic, deep night and dark night of the soul in our lives, but we know the experience. We know what it's like to be so challenged that you question your own life's worth. You question everything, even your own existence. And the key to not falling in the depths of that darkness is to be prayed up. Is to be prayed up enough that when those times come to your life, and I didn't say if, when those times come to your life, instead of joining the world of the walking wounded, like Beethoven, you will rise up and you will meet that challenge. And in so doing, maybe even realize your own genius. You see, like the salmon swimming upstream and the seagulls that fly straight into the wind, it's in meeting life, in facing the challenges head on, where we discover our strength and we find that something in us, that power that rules the universe, rises up within us to heal everything in its path. The truth is, nobody gets through this life unscathed. We all have our own dragons to slay. And that's why it's so important to be in good shape. And I don't mean physically, I mean spiritually. We need to be spiritually fit. to meet the challenges of living in this world as a perfect spiritual being in an unkind and unhumane human world. So it's a new month, it's a new year. We have a new book of the month to start it all off. It's called Spiritual Fitness, of course, what I'm using for the class. And in it, the author writes this: when you're in good spiritual shape, she says, you are far better to withstand and overcome life's vicissitudes and create the lifestyle that best suits who you truly are in everything from relationships to finance to career and creativity. So here's the thing. If you're going to run a marathon, you got to train your body. You got to be in good shape physically. We all know that. It's a no-brainer. But life, my friends, is a marathon. You're in it for the long haul. Every single day brings a new challenge. Come on, people. We live in South Florida. And you know what that means? That means every day somebody's going to piss you off. Every day. Happened to me the other day. I'm pulling in this one-way parking lot right behind a woman in a big-ass SUV. And she passed up a parking spot, realized that she passed it up, and just stops abruptly in the middle of the parking lot, and she wouldn't move. I couldn't get in the parking space. She couldn't get in the parking space, but she was not moving. And so at some point I said, all right, I'll just drive around her because there's another parking space 3 feet around there. I didn't say anything. I didn't make any gestures with my hands. I was just minding my own business. And after I parked my car, I saw that she and I were going in the same restaurant. So I walk in, and she's standing there all sassy, and she says to me, so what, you couldn't just back up? Now, what do you think I said to this woman? Did I say namaste? That which is holy and divine in me sees that which is holy and divine in you. Did I say, blessed is the fruit, his eye upon you? No. I said nothing. Why? Because as I've told you all a dozen times, sometimes the best response is no response at all. Look, like a marathon runner, in this world, you need to be in good shape spiritually. You need to be prayed up, meditated up, cleaned out. That's just the way it works. So it's a new year, and, I decided to close out the old year on my diet, because I like to go on a special diet in November and December. I've been telling you about it. It's called the pie diet. I just eat pie all November and December, because who doesn't like pie, right? And so I learned to make pecan pie this year. Probably not a good thing to learn to do, but I did. But typically, like everyone, I use the turning of the calendar page as motivation to get back in shape. Now, for me, my diet of pies and cookies and candies and all that stuff has to come to an end. I've indulged and I've enjoyed every minute of it. I don't feel guilty. I don't at all. I am not ashamed of it. I will not beat myself up for it. I will accept my muffin tops and know where they came from. But I know when it's time to move on. I want my body to be in good shape, so I call an end to the pies and I go back to eating salads. Instead of Coke, I drink water. Instead of fried chicken, I order grilled fish. It's all about choice. People, choices. All about choices, people. And the same truth applies to your spirituality and being spiritually fit. It's all about choices. So, here's what I want you to do. It's a new year, and we're all going on a new spiritual fitness program that I designed specifically with you in mind. Yay! Don't worry. It's not punitive. It's not like those horrible diets that say you can only drink water and eat celery for 10 days, and then you can have a carrot. I have a friend the other day that told me she's on the supermodel diet, and I said, what is the supermodel diet? She said, you eat absolutely nothing until you feel like you're going to pass out, and then you can have a cracker. This is why diets don't work, because they're punitive. They punish you. But my spiritual fitness program is fun because it's about making choices that make you happy and bring you joy. So here it is. This is the 3-part plan for this month. Number 1, go to the beach. Get out in nature. Take your shoes off, touch the ground, breathe the air. If you're watching us from the cold north, don't take your shoes off. You'll get frostbite. But go outside there. If there's snow, then throw the snow in the air. Feel the fall colors. Be in nature because you come from it. And being in nature feeds your spirit in ways you cannot possibly imagine. Number 2 on our spiritual fitness plan this month, listen to music that you love. Turn off the television set. You know it has an off button. Power off. Turn it off for a few minutes and listen to music each day. Music is the language of the soul. It has healing powers. It can lift your spirit. Music can change the biology of your body. It can create healthier cells. I think Beethoven knew that. He knew he was on assignment to bring music to the planet from the one composer and the one creator. So close your eyes and open your heart and listen to music. And then finally, number 3 on our plan is to sit still. Stop running around through your life and the frenetic pace of your life and sit still for 5 minutes. Only 5 minutes of silence with your eyes closed. This is the best new habit that you could create in the new year. It will change everything. I swear to God it will. Because when you sit still, guess what happens when you sit still? Your good has time to catch up with you. That's what happens. Your good has time to catch up with you. You've been running around, and it's too fast. So here it is again. Number 1, go outside in nature. Number 2, listen to the music, the language of the soul. Number 3, sit still. Can you do all that for me? Yes? Awesome. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Do that all this week and then come back next week for more lessons on spiritual fitness. Namaste, y'all. Happy New Year. And so ends the lesson. You know, there is only one life, and one mind, and one power, and one love. And it has created billions of expressions of its own self and delivers each day ideas for prosperity. It guides and directs you specifically to love. If you will listen, if you will stop and listen. Let's do that now.
I breathe out, I breathe in, I am still, I go within. When I quiet my mind, in the stillness I find, Spirit meets me there, Spirit meets me there.
If you look out into the universe, the first thing you realize is that everything is working. The planet continues to revolve in the precise orbit necessary to sustain life. Nature takes care of itself. The earth cleanses itself. The system is set up for success. You have been placed here at this time in history, in the midst of a successful universe, with everything in you and around you you need to live well. But maybe like me, sometimes you forget that. And you become more impressed with your problems and the challenges and the things that stand in your way and block your good than you do in the power within you to overcome it all and the love within you to heal it all. Maybe we just forget. So let's remind ourselves of the truth of our being, that within us is the power that spins the planets. Within us is the love that motivates all life and sustains all things. Within us is a personal and private message from the divine that guides us directly to our greater good. So let's be still now and listen to that voice of spirit, that voice of oneness. Listen to me. Whatever challenge you are facing in your life right now, no matter how long you've been facing it, no matter how long you've been dealing with it, you have within you the power to overcome it and meet that challenge. You do. It's there, and you can use it. And it will do as it has done for centuries, for a millennia, for millions of years. It will make all things new for you. And so it is.
I breathe out, I breathe in, I am still, I go within. When I quiet my mind, in the stillness I find. Spirit meets me there, Spirit meets me there.
2020 certainly was challenging for many people, and if you are one of those people that is presently challenged, that is why we have people on duty to serve and to take care of you. They are our licensed practitioners. They'll be right here in the community room right after the service. If you are seeking prayer online, it's easy to do so. You can go to our website and fill out a prayer request form. There's also ways in which you can receive prayer through our 24-hour prayer line at 954-990-5625. It is unfortunately because of COVID that we can't bring our children up on stage or have live youth services, but we have them online. We're holding our community together and serving all of children online by providing lesson plans and all kinds of new stuff coming out this year, so watch for that. If you have children or grandchildren, doesn't matter where you live in the world or the country, you can register them and they can attend at cslftl.org. Now, 2020 brought the greatest challenges, not just to us. I mean, we can talk about how we had to stay in our homes and how we had, to cancel our trips and to do all those things. You can talk about your job losses or your money losses, but there are no people that have been more greatly affected and challenged than our frontline workers. The people that are working in grocery stores, the doctors in the hospitals, and the nurses, and all of those people that have sacrificed so much of their lives in order to just keep life running for all of us. And so this year, instead of our gala, we're putting together a community program called Hats Off to Our Heroes. It is being held here in our parking lot under tents on February 20th. We are not going to attend that. None of us here are planning to attend. We are asking you to nominate and support one of these frontline workers. You can do so if you know someone personally, if you know a teacher, a doctor, a nurse, a person that works at Publix, some grocery store, something like that, go to cslftl.org and nominate one of these heroes. It doesn't cost you anything to nominate a hero. Nothing, not a thing. And we want you to do that. We're asking you to do that first before we call hospitals and have them, because we want your input first and the people that you know personally. How are we going to fund this big party? Because for the party on February 20th, all of these frontline workers, these essential workers, what happens that night is they come, it's a free open bar, it is a dinner that we're catering. There's a couple of prizes that they have the potentiality to win. It's about $5,000 in cash we're going to give away that night, and a trip to some exotic place in the world. So we're doing something really wonderful with these essential workers. Nobody's doing this. I don't know why they're not, but we at CSL felt the drive and the honor to respect these people. The way that we're going to fund it is through your donation. So we're asking you to go online and to nominate a hero, but to sponsor a hero as well. You can find out more information in the lobby today about that. We even put this program together for sponsorship, so there's all kinds of other ways that you might sponsor or give to support this event. We have a thermometer that we're trying to raise money, and so our goal was $50,000, and we're already at $20,500 or something like that. So, if these people have served you or touched your heart or your life in some way and you want to honor and respect them, please support it financially. We would greatly appreciate it. We close our service, as we always do, with our affirmation and prayer, and yours is exactly like mine, so let's say it robustly. I am spiritually fit and ready to begin a great new year. The best ever. There is a power for good in the universe greater than we are. There is a love that lives in the heart of every living soul in an unconditional and perfect way. No matter what the conditions are present in our lives today that we don't want anymore, that are negative and we want to rid ourselves of, that power can overcome them and remove all blocks and obstacles. Whatever happened to us in 2020 is over, it's done, it's finished, it's complete. Let's make sure it's complete in our minds. Let's be sure that we're not telling the stories of woe over again. Let's create a line of delineation from the past, who we have been and who we're now going to be. Who we're now going to be is the presence of God making its entrance into the world as potentiality, as love and healing. This truth is established in our minds and our hearts, reveals itself in our experience, and we are grateful for it, and so it is. We'll see you again next time here at CSL, 10:30 a.m. Eastern Time, live stream on Facebook, and here in the building. Have a good week. Thank you for watching, and thanks for supporting CSL. If you'd like to know more about us, check us out on our website or social media. Blessings.